Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mentor Spotlight series, where we get to know the incredible mentors behind the Nepal-US AI Hackathon and just see why our mentors are so passionate about giving back to the community. That said, super excited because we have Shalom Bhatta joining us today, who's a senior data scientist at Aetna, a CVS company. So, Shalom, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Actually, I'm really excited to, help out. So let's see.
Okay, so let's
Uh,
dive straight into it and start
uh,
all the way in the beginning, Aita. Can you
okay,
tell
yeah.
us, perfect. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? For example, where did it all start and how did you end up here?
Yeah. So my journey for AI started like 6, 7 years ago. I've been working in the space of AI for a while, and I've been working Nepal. I worked at Culti Digital Wallet, and I was the only person for data science, and it was this idea of being data-centric company that got me more. I got to explore about data science and AI and algorithms. We were using predictive analytics once, predictive modeling. Basically, we're trying to build models for prediction based on user or customer behavior. And that got me more excited and more into AI. So I did my master's in the US in a Northeastern university. It's a fairly decent university. I worked for computer vision and machine learning, where I got to learn a lot about like in-depth proper deep learning based models as well as actual machine learning models. And then I was working at a startup in MIT as a machine learning engineer for 2 years, 2.5 years, where I was doing behavioral recommendation, building machine learning models to help users change their behavior when it comes to transportation. And at the end, recently I transferred to Aetna, which is like a big insurance company. We're doing deep learning, Gen AI models, deep learning models, and also machine learning models to analyze customer service, especially the university or basically big insurance companies get like a survey where they rate how a person needs their services. And based on that service, the government allocates funding. So our goal is to increase the scores in the surveys and find out why the reason people are not having a good service. So we'll look at different points, let's say, different variables or features where we're trying to determine if a person is good for the company, bad for the company, why is it bad for the company? So that's basically my introduction. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm,
So what I'm hearing, I know
mm.
CUIO, MIT, then there's Aetna,
Yeah.
you got like 7+ years of experience in AI. So
Yes.
this path,
Fairly good amount. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
your path, Matse, what are some lessons you've learned from then to now?
I would say I'm not a big, one of the biggest lessons I always say is this pursuit of artificial general intelligence that's happening at the moment, where believe that the AI is going to take over a human, and then we're heading in a path of through generative AI is the wrong way of going. And then I'm very opinionated about it. You know what I mean? Because generative AI, what it is like you're trying to generate something from a model. You're generating you're trying to complete a sentence. That will never lead to general intelligence. That's one of the lessons, or that's a firm belief that I stand on. But other than that, if there's lessons, let's say that I would say machine learning is a very interesting field. And it is so much more dependent than in mathematics than it is on everything else. So linear algebra, calculus, and I would say probability and statistics, those algorithms have been there for nearly 100 years, 150 years, especially algorithms like inference or Gaussian mixture models. Those have been there for a long time. We've finally been able to use them so that we can make predictions out of them. So the biggest lesson is if you're good at math, you can be good at machine learning. You know what I mean? Highly recommend doing math.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shift gears, eh?
Yeah.
So why did you say yes to mentoring the Nepal-US AI Hackathon? Like what excited you the most about it?
The reason I said yes was one of my best friend, let's say a very good friend of mine, agreed to do it, and he was like, "Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I would do it." And then that's one of the big reasons. The second reason is I'm also always excited to learn about the Nepalese, how good we are at AI, explore and also make connections at the same time, help out the help out the students that are, venturing out into AI, what it's like, what making models are like, what deploying models are like, or what, having terabytes and terabytes of data and trying to analyze them and creating something out of them so that people can understand and explaining to stakeholders how it's that going to be like. I want to explore how good our Nepalese students are. So I'd say that one of the main reasons.
I thought you were gonna mention the third thing. That's a I asked you to please be a mentor as well, but it's
Oh yeah, and Shrey also asked me 100%. I was like, yes, Shrey's asked me, then I'm gonna say yes. You know what I mean? But yeah, Shivam is another friend of mine. Both of you guys, kind of asked me around the same time. So I was like, I had said yes to Shivam already, and then you asked me. I was like, okay, if Shivam, I've already said yes. You know what I mean?
perfect.
So
So, okay,
yeah.
let's say our participants go sidebar. Let's say, what would you
Mm.
love to see from all these individuals or teams? And
Uh-huh. So I would say one of the biggest thing in machine learning, generating an inference, which is basically predicting, is the simplest thing, right? The difficult thing, or me as a data scientist, what we spend most of our time is gathering data, cleaning data, making sure data is ready, and like how are we trying to, ETL, extract, transform, load, and then there's state data engineering, there's feature engineering, we prepare the features for data. Uh, those things take a lot of time. I want to see how students approach that problem because in the end, in the industry, you're just calling a package for the like XGBoost. We're using XGBoost a lot recently, which is like a boosting algorithm. We're just calling that function. We're not doing much. We're not like reinventing the wheel. But how do you deal with the data that's messy? How do you deal with the data that has a bunch of nulls? So I want to see how they feel, how they interact with this type of problem. At the same time, the second thing is what they do after predicting. How
mm,
you create a prediction, then you have to deploy it on the web. You have to, think about, is it going to be very expensive to deploy on this type of service? Is it going to be not expensive on deploying on this type of service? So machine learning in itself is like a very, very big part. There's so many different things where you gather data. I'll just give like a short example. Gather data, you do feature engineering, you clean your data, and then later on, you also, no, what else do you do? Sorry. Oh, you do the actual modeling part, but
mhm.
then you deploy it to the model, you benchmark your model, and it continuously improve your model, right? So I want to see some variations in modeling at the same time. Did they try out different models? At the same time, how did they think about deployment too?
Wow. So for someone like me who's non-tech,
Mhm.
I got super overwhelmed.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, but like, it's a
No.
bunch of things, but it's not too difficult.
So our final question is,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure for a lot of people, they're probably
Mhm.
this is their first hackathon and
Yeah.
might be as overwhelmed as me, right?
Mhm.
What would be your final or like, a couple pieces of advice to these nervous folks that's
I
attending?
would I would say if a linear regression or a logistic regression solves a problem, use that. Which is basically saying I mean with linear regression basically is trying to fit into a line. We're not making a different complex models, right? So that means it's the simplest model for a simplest use case, use that, right? Don't overcomplicate things. You don't need a neural network. Neural networks basically the most complicated types of models. You don't need that. Right? So that's one of the things is like try to think the simplest way in the beginning. If that doesn't do the work, then you complicate, then you add more complex stuff. So that's one of the biggest encouragement I say. Always start from the simplest algorithms, simplest way, and then try to add more complexity to it.
Wow.
Mm.
Shalom, thank you so much
Yeah, yeah. You're
for
welcome.
doing this and sharing your story and insights with everyone. Now, for
Mhm.
the participants that's watching this, I hope you felt a little inspired and actually ready to go for the hackathon because we are super blessed to have mentors like Shalom over here.
Mhm.
Right, so that said, stay tuned for more mentor spotlights. Peace.
Thank you.